Do, 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 do. Let's be real, the UK motorcycle laws suck. They're the worst they've ever been. It's very hard to obtain a licence starting at a young age now. The laws have made it become very progressive in terms of age to power output, and of course, this has made it increasingly more difficult for youngsters to get on a motorcycle. Sadly for them, the cost has very much increased, having to sometimes take your test up to 4 times to obtain a full Category A licence from starting off from a moped licence. Why has they made it so difficult? Well, really this has come down to the EU wanting to cap down on motorcycle fatalities. They've done this by making the motorcycle laws harder to obtain a more powerful bike. It's kind of hard to explain how a more powerful bike could potentially lead to fatality. Of course, as we know, power in wrong hands can potentially lead to bad things. However, is it really worth making it difficult for someone to obtain a fast bike because it's going to increase fatalities? Or do we just make it more expensive and more difficult to obtain a licence to reduce fatalities because less people are on bikes? Surely that's not making it as relative per motorcycle on the road per death. Anyway, today I'm going to go over explaining the laws. Hopefully this is of some use. Sadly, this video in potentially a year or so may be completely of no use, as the laws may have changed again. So hopefully you'll learn something today about the laws, maybe something you didn't already know. And yeah, let's get straight into it. So I've got my trusty whiteboard here. This is going to display the age of which you can obtain this certain licence, the category of licence on this side, and also what it entitles you to. At 16 you can go ahead and do a CBT. It's a day's course, costs around £80 to £120 depending on where you go. That will include the bike hire, the test fee, the equipment hire in terms of your gear, and the petrol included, as well as insurance. A day's course on provisional licence, you are then valid to ride a moped. At 16 you can ride a moped of no more than 50cc. Now this, during that year, from 16 to 17 years of age, can reach no more than 31 miles per hour. You cannot carry a pillion, you cannot go on motorways. However, you can go on a dual carriageway, which, as we know, with a central reservation allows cars to do up to 70 miles an hour. And you're restricted to 31 miles an hour. Definitely decreasing deaths. Anyway, so yes, you're entitled to a moped at 16 years of age. So at 16 you've completed your CBT, you're done. You're allowed on the road for 2 years at 16 on a moped. However, at 17 that can increase to a 125cc geared bike. Even though you may have done your test on an automatic scooter, the day you turn 17 you can go out and buy yourself a geared bike, don't know how the gears work, and boom, you're out on the road doing potentially more than national speed on a bike you've had no more than a day's training and you're not even been taught the gears to ride. Anyway, at 16 you can obtain your full moped licence. Now this allows you, it still means you have to go 31 miles an hour, but wait a second, you can take pillions on the back. At 16 with a full moped licence, you can take a pillion on the back of your bike. Can't go on motorways because the bike is 50cc, so it doesn't allow the motorway for starters, and also the fact that it wouldn't do more than about probably 28 miles an hour, even though it's restricted to 31 with a pillion. So you can take your girlfriend on the back to McDonald's, you can take your mates around, and when the copper pulls you over and goes, "Let's see your provisional licence, mate," you pull out the P licence and he's just like, ooh. Anyway, moving on now to 17 years of age. So you're now 17 years of age. If you've already done your CBT and it's valid from when you were 16 for 2 years, you can jump straight onto a 125cc bike the minute 12:01 in the morning you turn 17. You can ride that 125cc bike as long as it's insured and all that on the roads, as the CBT certificate is valid for 2 years. However, you just turned 17, you can go ahead and do your CBT on your birthday, and again that will provide you to ride up to a 125cc bike for 2 years, as long as it has L plates and has a maximum legal limit of 15 brake horsepower. The other option you could have in terms of licence laws is to do the A1 licence. Now I have this myself and it's been of quite some value. It allows you to ride and have pillions on the back of your bike, take your L plates off, which, oh, godsend, drivers actually treat you like you're a human being, and you can go on motorways. So yeah, I can ride a 125cc bike either on a CVT for 2 years, if I've done it at 17, or if it's valid from when I was 16 for those 2 years. 125cc geared bike, motorcycle or moped. Alright, so this is where it gets complicated. So, say you to have your CVT license at 17 on your birthday, you've just turned 19, you can't get your full license unless you have a valid CVT because of the new progressive motorcycle law. So you have to have a valid CVT or A1 license in order to go ahead and obtain your full A2 license at 19. Now this will consist of doing a theory test, a module 1 test and a module 2 test in order to obtain the full license. The restrictions are as follows. At 19 years of age on the A2 license, you can have a power output of no more than 0.2 kilowatts per kilogram of the bike. So is this the wet weight of the bike? Is it the dry weight of the bike? Is it the bike with added panniers on top of it? With the exhaust removed, which reduces weight? How do we measure that? And the restriction has to be of no more than half of the original bike's value in terms of horsepower. So basically this would mean you can have, the restriction has to be a maximum of 46.6 brake horsepower. The bike has to be restricted to 46.6 brake horsepower. Now this seems a bit ridiculous, so you can go ahead, have a day's training and ride a bike that does 80 miles an hour, or have to do a full license and be 19 years of age to go and ride a more powerful bike. I mean, how is that decreasing motorcycle fatalities? It's not. It's a bunch of just rubbish legislation making it harder to obtain motorcycles and making it look as though the politicians are actually reducing motorcycle fatalities. Increase the training. I don't understand how a kid at 17 is going to jump onto a 125 with a day's training. In the day's training of a CVT at 17 doesn't even teach you the highway code, and yet you're licensed to go on the road for 2 years. How is that decreasing motorcycle fatalities? It's not. Ridiculous. Anyway, this is the law at 19. A2 licence, power output of 0.2 kilowatt per kilogram of whatever the bike is, wet, dry, frozen, I don't even know. Restricted to 46.6 brake horsepower maximum you can have restricted. Anyway, next we're moving on to the licensing laws at 21 or 24 years of age, depending on how long you've had your license for. I'll try and explain it, alright? It's difficult. I'm sorry, guys. You know, just get a car. Just get a car. You know, you don't have to pay to do your license this many times. Also, although I've already done my A1 license at 17, I have to go back and resit it. Pay to do my A2 license again to prove I can ride a more powerful, heavier bike. The trouble is, unlike my A1 license, where I could ride the bike to the test centre, considering I had a CVT license which allowed me to ride it to the test centre, at A2 there's no CVT, so you have to somehow transport the bike there, which is very costly, have someone with a license ride it there who's insured to ride it, or what the majority of people do is go for a test school. Now, in order for a test school, the minimum they'll tend to do is usually a couple of days of training plus the course fees in terms of the test. Now this can cost anywhere from £400 to £500 per licence interval. Now that's a lot of money. You know, people look at motorcycles and think, oh, it's a cheap way to get about. It's good miles per gallon. Tax is pretty cheap. I can park where I want. Yes, but the laws are quite expensive for the licensing. So that's another thing to take into account. Anyway, let's move on to the full A motorcycle law. So you're probably looking at this and thinking, Harvey, wait, what age? 21 or 24? Okay, so the full A license. The only way you can attain this is either having your A2 license for 2 years of when you were 19. Also, if you got it at 20, you'd have to have it for 2 years, so you could obtain the full A license at 22, for example, if you were 20, having the A2 license. Sorry, this is getting complicated. Anyway, Or you can go ahead and do your full direct access at 24 years of age. You would still have to do a CBT for this, even if you'd never ridden a bike. Go ahead and do your theory, Module 1 and Module 2 on a bike that would fit the A licence. So yeah, you can go ahead and do that. Full A licence allows you to ride anything. Anything you want. So basically you're 24 years of age, you've done your CBT, you've done your theory, Mod 1, Mod 2, let's go and get a Hayabusa. Let's turbocharge it, how about that? It's ridiculous. It's rubbish. It's rubbish. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I'm just telling you what the actual laws are. It's a real shame. So yeah, 24 years of age or 21 if you had your A2 license for 2 years from when you were 19. That's pretty much it, guys. I'm sorry the laws suck in England. It's just the way it is. But what's crazy is, although I've done my A1 license, I've done my A2 license, and I've paid to redo my A2 license from the A1, I still have to go back and pay to do my A license for the 3rd time. If I'd done my, for example, if I'd done my moped license, and then got my A1 license, then my A2 license, and then my A license, that's 4 times I'm paying to do my test to prove I can ride a more powerful bike. Where is this with the cars? For example, you get your car driving license at 17. Yes, the insurance prices sort of control what you can ride power-wise, but surely that should be the way with motorcycle laws as well. Sadly, no, it's restricted upon age, because for some reason there are studies linking age to speed and testosterone and all this rubbish. We can agree to disagree on that, but the fact is, the cars don't have this same ruling, so why should bikes be discriminated against? Food for thought. Anyway, hope you guys have learned something. Hopefully these laws don't change within the next couple of months when you're watching this video. And as always, have fun, ride safe, and thanks for watching.